Welcome back to the channel. In this video, we are going to learn about somebody named Lisa Speroni. So she, as you can see in the title of this article, moved to Italy at the age of 55. She had, this is this is her. Um, she had a job for $110,000 in IT, and had a pension that would have given her 90%. This is her and her son. 90% for the rest of her life of her salary, and but has decided to move to Italy anyway. It's an interesting story, and so I thought we would go over it and look at what I think the financials probably look like. Um, let's take a look at where she has decided to move to. And so I just took some notes similar to the last video, and we'll just go through those rather than going through the article. Can't reach the internet. Okay, so she has moved to Salerno, which there we are in Salerno, and very close to the Amalfi Coast. There we see Positano, Sorrento, the island of Capri, beautiful, and I'll move myself a little bit, and we should be able to get a look at where this is more like within. Again, here's Salerno, uh, 30-minute train ride up to Naples. Further, you can go up to Rome, and you can see some of the areas in Puglia, like Taranto, Gallipoli, Lecce, and so on. Okay, so that's where we are. That's where she is in Italy. So this is a different story where, because she has the pension income, I think she probably could have qualified for the 7% income tax, but has chose to do something different. Salerno has approximately 130,000 people that live in it. Okay, and so then let's go into the dock. So here are a few images of Salerno. Obviously, very close to the water, really quite beautiful. Here's another look. And another one, and then I think I got one or two more here. Just giving you some different looks real quickly to get a sense of what Salerno looks like. Really, really beautiful area, and again, the closeness to the Amalfi Coast, incredible area as well. Very different look in terms of the retire in Italy for cheap than what we have done with a lot of the 7% towns. So let's see how this plays out and if it relates for you. So again, quit her job at the age of 55, was going to receive a pension that gave her 90% of her salary, which is 110,000. So we'll go over the finances in a minute. Let me make this a little bit bigger, just so it's a little easier for everybody to read. Her son's dad, so that's her ex-husband, so she's divorced, is Italian but was born in the U.S. So Ryan, who's her son, qualified for Italian citizenship if he wanted to apply for it. And so Ryan ended up moving to Italy before she did, first just to visit for a while, and then actually moved there. And she visited him for a 2-week vacation and loved it. And that's what really got her process started. In the U.S., had, even though she had a six-figure salary, is still had a lot of financial complications and challenges in terms of just being able to put any money away. She had a $2,400 per month apartment, plus utilities, and basically very little savings at the age of 55. So, long story short, she ended up selling her stuff or put it in storage. The paperwork was complicated for her son's citizenship, but that worked out, and then she ended up qualifying for a visa as a close family member. She and her son flew back and forth many times as they were in this process. Turin was a possibility in the north, and then they found out about Salerno through a friend, which, as we saw, very near the Amalfi Coast. And they fell in love with this little city, and so they now both live in Salerno. And you can See as I highlight where I am. So they have a spacious two-bedroom apartment that costs 800 a month. And so in a minute here, we're going to go into Idealista, which is the site that I use the most often when looking at properties. And we'll take a look at a similar property and see, you can see what you think in terms of what that looks like. And she says they can eat good fresh food for $10 a day. So again, that's a story we hear pretty consistently about Italy. She does travel some and mentioned going to Rome for a few days as she liked doing that. No car, so they're relying on public, or she is at least, probably both of them, relying on public transportation and walking. Mentioned that she's lost 50 pounds due to all the walking that she's doing around Salerno and probably other areas that she's visiting. She mentioned that it's common for adult children to live with their parents, and that's what she's doing. Ryan and she are living together in this apartment in Salerno. She still does get a California pension from, but just not what it would have been if she had stayed for the final 10 years. So it's 25,000 less than what she would have received at age 65. Okay, so let's look into the finances here a little bit. So her salary was 110,000, and she was going to get 90% of that as a pension. So she would have got 99,000 per year as a pension. So that would be a pretty nice pension. That would have lasted for the rest of her life. She still has a pension, but it's just less. So it's 25,000 less is what she mentioned. So I docked that from 99 down to $74,000 pre-tax, and then again we have to make the conversion to euros because now she lives in Italy. So we're talking about 71,000 euros is her current pension salary. And then we get into taxes in Italy because she's not in a 7% income tax town. She is going to have to pay normal Italian taxes now. So there does seem to be some confusion on this, and that sometimes people say that it's a 43% tax rate. So that's not really accurate. It's a progressive tax. So the first 15,000 euros are taxed at 23%, 15 between 15 and 28,000 euros, 25%. Then from 28 to 50,000, 35%, and then over 50,000, 43%. So the way that would look for her is the first 15 are 34.50 in taxes, then 32.50, then 7,700, and then the remaining 21,000 of salary, 9,030 in taxes. So that's the 43% rate, that remaining 21,000. So in total, she would get to 24,300 euros in taxes per year. Plus, there would be some regional and municipal taxes of around 2,300, and so I got her to a total of 26,600. Now, obviously, everybody's tax situation can be quite different in terms of what type of write-offs you have and whatnot. So this is very general, but just try to get us to have like a general idea of what does this look like for her. And then if we start off again, we have the 71,000 per year minus the 26,600. We end up getting to roughly 3,700 euros per month in post-tax income. Okay, and so in Salerno, how does that work out financially for her? So what she said was that the rent was 800 per month and that she's living with her son Ryan. So it could be that they're splitting it, or it could be that she's paying it. Not sure. We'll go over both possibilities here in a minute. But anyway, the rent is 800, quite different than the 2,400 she was paying in Sacramento. Food, so she did mention that she could eat pretty decently for $10 a day. So that would get you to 300 a month, but it's probably more than that, especially because she's traveling to Rome and probably has times where she's going out for a nicer meal. So it wouldn't be surprising at all that it's at least 400, if not more. Public transportation is 40 per month is the rate there. And then, obviously if there are trips to Naples or Rome, it'll be a little bit more on top of that. The bills, I would get to 400 per month if it was just her, or if she's splitting it with Ryan, 200 a month. Those basics are internet 40, I should say 40 euros rather than dollars. Mobile 20 euros, electricity and water 200, gas 80. Those numbers seem fairly consistent. And then you have a health insurance question. Um, so health insurance usually would be 2,000 at the beginning of the year for the SSN public health insurance that I would imagine that she would have, rather than the 175 per month. But if you wanted it to be a monthly number, that would be the 175. So in total, we get to 13,1550 per month if she's splitting some of these costs with Ryan. If she wasn't splitting any of them and was just paying them, or if she lived alone, we would get to 1950 per month. And we might be underestimating. That's with the 400 per month for food, so it might be more than that. You know, if she's like she has 3,700 a month in post-tax income, so she could easily be paying more for food and transportation if she wanted to, and entertainment, whatnot. But the main point here would be she has a lot of room for error, and for the she probably could live in a 7% town. She has the necessary pension income that Italy would be looking for. More than enough, like more than double what Italy is looking for from an individual. So if she wanted to do that, she could. But I think the reality is like she probably can easily save more than 1,000 euros per month after the taxes. And so the feeling would be like, well, if she really likes Salerno, it's a bigger town than the to get the 7% tax, you'd have to be in a town of less than 20,000. And that's probably some of the attraction. Okay, so what else do we want to look at here? This is an interesting article. Pros and cons of living in Salerno. So as we go over this, this was written about 6 months ago. So it's not all sunshine and gelato. All right. So what do we see as some of the pros and the cons? So as we mentioned, town of 132,000. So we're right in that 130,000. So much bigger town than really almost any of the ones I think that we've looked at to this point. In terms of costs, you can see here 700 euros per month gets you to a decent apartment. That fits with what she said. She's in a 800 per month for a 2 bedroom. Cost of meals typically between 10 and 15 euros. Also aligns with what she said. There's another picture of Salerno. Who lives there? Pretty big variety, right? So roughly 20% of the population is under the age of 18, while 25% are over 65. So she'll have some people in her age bracket, but you see a lot more families and younger people, as you would expect in a bigger town. Cost of living, okay. And then we can see again, like if you're looking at something within the city center, which is probably where transportation is the easiest, is then you're looking at something in the 650 to 900 euro per month range. Again, that fits her range. But you could do it for cheaper if you wanted to live outside of the city center, is you might be able to find a place for less than 600, according to this. From a standpoint of groceries, they just have a few examples here. Loaf of bread, 1.5 euros. A dozen eggs, 3 euros. This person who wrote this you feel would be pretty comfortable with 200 to 300 euros per month for your groceries. Okay, transportation. Monthly public transport pass costs about 40 euros. So that's where I got the 40 euro number from. Dining out, you're kind of looking at a range of like a local trattoria, 20 euros. If you wanted to go out for more like a three-course meal, 40 to 60 euros. Utilities and internet. So these numbers sort of line up with what we've really seen previously. You're around 200 per month. So I may have overshot it a little bit where I had it more like around 400 once you included all of the utilities. Another picture of Salerno. Climate, it's nice. It might rain in the wintertime. Employment opportunities, I will skip over this in that we were talking about retirement type ideas. But if you want to hear more about that, let me know. I'll be happy to include it in a future video. Public transportation, buses start around, it says here, 1.2 euros. Trains, you can see here, Naples in about 30 minutes, which costs around €5 for that trip, or getting to the Amalfi Coast in a little bit less than an hour, and also very walkable. Okay, and then we get into healthcare. So when we talked about Calabria in the last video, there was definitely some concerns about the level of healthcare. We can see there are over 10 hospitals in the wider province. Um, that looks good overall. The quality of care looks to be good. You can see here second best healthcare system in Europe. That's just talking about Italy in general. And it does seem like there is some hit or miss with the public healthcare system uh, that they have. And overall, it looks like the opinion here is that Salerno would be kind of average within Italy, and that there can be some extended wait times um, for specific issues. But I think, really, like if you're making a comparison to the US, um, if you have something like very specific, like you have to go see a urologist or something, is like, you can't go get that tomorrow. There's going to be a wait there as well. So I don't know how different it really is. The costs are certainly lower. The prescription drugs are certainly lower. But certainly it would be great to get comments and feedback on this for those who have, firsthand experience. Education system, we will skip over that for the moment. Cultural attractions, I'm not sure we have a lot more here. Safety and security, that's important. Salerno has a good reputation overall. We can see right there in the first sentence, they've quantified it in some way where they said the rating is 27.42. I have no idea what that means. Basically, it means relatively safe number. So it can be touristy in the summer. And so, like any places that can be touristy, is in the more crowded areas, like the risk of getting pickpocketed and whatnot certainly go up. So I think that's kind of would be the risk. But as far as violent crimes and whatnot, looks like almost never. And we kind of go on with a few other things. Okay, and so then the last part of the video for today is to go in and see if we can look at a comparable apartment. Here we go. So let's take a look. So this one, right, we got a 4-room flat for $850 per month. So a tiny bit more expensive, but in the same range as what Lisa was talking about. I think that was her name, right? Yeah, Lisa. Okay, so here's a look at from the outside. And this one, I believe, is on the 5th floor, right? And there's an elevator. Okay, so here's one smaller bedroom with some interesting colors. You might want to repaint. And a little corridor. We get in further. There is a balcony, right, with a decent view. Not too bad. We continue to look at the balcony. Right. There's the kitchen, right, and a little dining area. We see this all the time in Italy with the dining table in the kitchen in very close proximity. There's a different view of it. And then we get in here. Here's the bathroom. Looks fine. Right, and then we get into a different bedroom. And then the terrace. Again with a view. Not too bad. And this might be a different bathroom. And one more bedroom with some double doors that open up so that you can step outside onto that terrace. That's probably nice. And there we go. Okay, now last time, yesterday, when I tried the map, they wouldn't give me the specific location. So let's see what happens today. Okay, this one they will, so we can see a little bit more. So we can see the pin here in the middle of the map represents the property. And as we look at, yeah, public transportation is all over the place near you, right? As you can kind of just go in a circle and see all of this public transportation, and then the bigger train over here a little bit to the southeast. So that would be quite nice. This place would really enable you to rely on public transportation, get anywhere you want to want to go, I would think. And then restaurants, and you can see in orange all these restaurants basically just circling the apartment. So that also probably pretty nice, right? So in terms of being able to walk to uh, restaurants, and certainly some of these places, I don't know what they are. Like I don't know what the Hong Kong Center is. Looks like that's a grocery store though, so walking distance to grocery store as well. So all that looks great. And if we take a look at the street view, just for fun, come on, there we go. Um, I'll move out of the way a little bit here. So there's one look, and here's another, right? So it's a busy area. You can see a lot of cars around. Okay. So that's what we got with this one, and we'll leave. Okay. So that's a kind of a look at what the 800 per month range would probably look like. You're quite close to the water, as we have mentioned a little bit in this video. So I don't know. I think it's pretty nice look. So everybody obviously doesn't have 75,000 in or 71,000, I think it was in terms of euros uh, per year in terms of a pension. But I think what you're looking at from a cost standpoint in this situation is it looks like maybe around right around 2,000 per month would probably be the cost that she was looking at. She has enough in pension income where she could probably push that up a little bit and travel around a little bit more. But that would be about the range for one person, from what I can tell. So, anyways, that's what we got for this video. If you enjoyed it, please give it a like or consider subscribing to the channel for future videos like this one. Thanks.